Good morning, Paranoid Android, with some observations. The attack on collective bargaining. I don't know if anybody else finds it alarming or if they're familiar with history at all. The industrial age, or like books like The Grapes of Wrath or Of Mice and Men, during the Depression, during that era, there was a lot of people who were trying to get better working conditions, workers' rights. And they had to use their power of collective bargaining to come together as a group collectively to redress the grievance, just like the freedom of assembly. Supposedly, you're supposed to have the freedom of assembly, and then people can come together collectively, and then they can get redressive grievance. They have the right to speak out against their government, political leaders, whatever they feel like, because they're Americans. And even if they might, it says the cry of the poor is not always just, but if you fail to listen to it, you'll never know what justice is. That was Howard Zinn. But if you don't listen to the cry of the poor, you don't really know, if it's just or not. So we have to hear the cry of the poor, the cry of those who are seeking redress. So I was speaking with somebody who, in they're pretty head over heels with the current administrator, who's really going after people's right to collectively bargain or form unions. And they, for the most of my life, have been a they always loved John F. Kennedy as I was a kid, and they always tried to get unions formed, and they just been kind of a rebel, and they jumped right on that Trump train, and they wanted to speak out against a man. But I was explaining to him, I was like, look, man, the stuff he's doing with these labor unions and the trying to stop people from having collective bargaining, this stuff goes back to when they were a kid, back to like the 60s and 70s, really around 74 at the end of the Nixon administration. What was happening is the war was going on, and there was a lot of civil rights activists and a lot of consciousness movements. A lot of people were getting educated. People were doing they used the LSD. The LSD came in through the CIA, and they used this LSD and like this Manson scare to turn people against this hippie culture. Instead of it being a peaceful thing, they turned it into like this violent counterculture that's going to destroy America. So they had to bolster conservatism, and they formed that Heritage Foundation. So the Heritage Foundation really is run by the 1%, the business owners who want people to just fall in line. So, the Heritage Foundation, they're all about getting rid of collective bargaining. They want the male. They have things that sound good, like the male, according to Christian, dialogue. They want the male as the head of the household, and install like morals or values. But at the same time, that's all good and well. But in this country, like the Treaty of Tripoli, that the founding fathers ratified, that America is not, a Christian nation founded on Christianity in any way. Because these guys are Freemasons, they will use God in their, when they talk, but really it's symbolism from them. These guys are deists. So yeah, they stated in the Treaty of Tripoli, no, America is not just a Christian nation, because America is like this melting pot where they welcome, all religions and all ideas, as long as, you're not hurting people, do you, man? So anywho, this person, I was talking to him, and I was like, well, he's going against these unions, and they said, well, they're saying things against Trump. They're speaking against him. I was like, yeah, because they're Americans. That's their right. And they barely. It was hard for them to put it together, I think, or maybe they were just. They kind of had like a oh shit moment where they realized that this guy. 'Cause I was explaining to him that they were coming in vans, just kidnapping people more or less with masks on. Student protesters with visas here legally, coming with masks like Gestapo tactics, putting them in vans and driving them across state lines against judges' orders, just because they're speaking out against, say, the what's going on over in Israel and Palestine. As an American, you're supposed to be able to speak out against whatever you want to speak out against. But you can argue, well, this person's on a visa, they're not an American citizen, they're not here legal, or they're here legally, but they shouldn't enjoy the same freedoms. Well, the founding fathers said that that they said we, not them. There's no them when it comes to Americans. They said we find that it is self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed with certain liberties from their creator, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, saying that all men are equal and all men have the right, by their God-given rights through their Creator, for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, that should extend to somebody who's just speaking out against something they don't feel is right, and just to kidnap them and then to silence them and to run them, imprison them. I mean, that's not American. Like, that's crazy. That's like, that's not like, is that not alarming? I told this person, isn't that alarming? They said, well, if you don't have anything to, if you're not speaking out against them, then you're gonna have nothing to worry about. I said, listen to yourself. Listen to what you're saying. You're saying that if people speak out against, you know, anything that the current administrator doesn't like, then he should have the power to harm them or to violate their rights, to take away due process. You know what I mean? To violate the judge order. This is tyranny. This doesn't seem like any sort of democracy, in my opinion. You know, I don't know. So anywho, yeah. So if people can't come together collectively like they did during the industrial age, and like they did during the depression, and like they do now, if they, like we do when we vote, to take away people's ability to do that, and then propose a future where they want to have 10 billion automated robots that are going to automate labor and probably automate the military, as you see now with the drones, then humans, won't have no power to fight against whatever comes next. You see what I'm saying? They can't shut the system down if they already got robots to do the work and they got the robots to do the enforcing. So people are just kind of like, putting themselves in chains. And the people are so blind, they think, well, this guy's got Jesus on his side. Um, if you know anything about the Bible, this seems to be the exact opposite. So I don't know if anybody's paying attention, if I'm just a paranoid android, but I don't know. As Americans, we should be pretty much be able to say whatever we want, I guess, as long as we're not hurting people. Have a good day.